It's 8:30 and the sun has just gone down on another summer day. The nocturnal world of teenagers is coming to life. The parking lots, corners, back porches, that's their turf. Finding something to do is their goal.
You're drinking, man?
This is Coquitlam, and in the past week, youth violence here has dominated the headlines, enraged politicians, but it doesn't surprise teens in the least.
You always gotta worry about getting jumped or something. Somebody doesn't like the way you look or something.
What is there to do here?
Here? Nothing at all.
Are you bored?
Yeah, I'm bored.
"10 o'clock, just outside Lougheed Mall, a common stop on the skateboarder circuit. At 15 and 16, they're already steeled to stories of violence.
Yeah, it's totally a game. Like they see how far they can hurt the guy.
Beat on people, see if they can, see how far they can go before he dies, and then sometimes people die.
Most people drink and do drugs.
Yeah, I'm pretty high.
This is the Lougheed bus loop. It's 10:30. Teens hanging out here are on the lookout for a party.
We went out in search of pot. If there's nothing to do, what are we supposed to do? Just walk around drunk and stuff, and then we get in trouble.
Hanging out are two teens who know all about boredom turning into trouble. They're young offenders. The one on the right has faced charges of attempted murder. The one on the left has only been out of jail a matter of days. Would the threat of going to jail stop you from doing something?
Oh. It's easy there.
Do you think a lot of violence would be stopped if teens had something to do, a place to go?
Lots of people just want to get drunk and stuff. They don't want to go to play no video games and shit at no center with staff and stuff.
We have about 20 kids at the rear complaining can hear bottles or something smashing.
On a summer weekend, police and teens in this suburb play a constant game of cat and mouse. It's just before midnight. RCMP get a call about a fight.
A little punch there? Really punch it? Fell, okay. Well, go home there, guys, okay? Yeah.
Teens have some involvement in the majority of the calls. And like we've talked about, stiffer penalties for the young offenders and that. I think if the kids start to realize that they're going to get something for what they're doing, then I think it'll help in some way, for some anyways.
You're arrested for being drunk in public place.
Yeah, I understand, okay?
It's well after 1 a.m. Police have already been to this house party once before tonight. Now it's gotten out of hand.
Inside there was food thrown around, flour all over the floor, liquor everywhere. Then, of course, she gets all upset because the place got out of hand, kicks everybody out, calls the police.
3 a.m. The police scanners are becoming quiet, and by all accounts, the night is winding down, except, of course, for the group of 13 and 14-year-olds just standing around.
Do your parents know where you are?
Yeah.
They do they?
All three sets of parents are en route, and they are not happy campers.
Copy that. We'll stand by.
Go ahead.
The kids may think that I'm picking on them, but I'm really not, because they're out in the middle of the street at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. The thing that concerns me is that if we don't do anything about it, something does happen to them, or if they do something, then it always comes back to the police weren't doing their job.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
Adrian Arsenault, CBC News, Coquitlam.
I got jumped by 6 guys last year.
About 5 of them came up to my boyfriends, had him at the back of my car, started kicking him, punching him.
Oh yeah, knives, guns.
It was a night to talk about teen violence and the damage that has been done to the family of 31-year-old Graham Niven, killed in a confrontation with teens he didn't know. First, a private prayer service for Graham's family at a Coquitlam funeral home. Then, a more public tribute. It was a candlelight vigil at the spot where Niven died, a gesture of sympathy by the teens of Coquitlam, people who were once friends with the 2 youths accused of Niven's murder.
You did something great today.
Thank you.
While those who knew Graham lit candles in his memory, strangers came to offer their support, and teens talked about the brutality they live with every day, the fear of revenge, and the need for protection.
Every one of my friends has, a weapon, a knife. It doesn't mean they pack it around, but they do have one.
If somebody sees you that they don't like you or they heard about you, they'll try something.
Although the vigil was planned for the benefit of Niven's family, the organizers hoped that teens might see this as a warning about violence.
I don't know if it'll make a very deep mark, but hopefully it'll make it a mark.
A good idea, but 15 minutes after the vigil, a bizarre twist. Two teens walked into the same Mac store right past a small memorial to Graham Niven. Then they robbed the clerk at gunpoint.
And he told the customer lie down, and he lied down and said, leave the wallet at the counter. So he did that, and the poor guy was just freaking out. He said, give all the cash. My son, he gave him the cash, and he told me to grab the bag and fill it up with a cigarette.
Then they left, and they still have not been caught.
This is where it ended, on the first level of a parking arcade at the Oak Ridge Center. Plainclothes police at the scene arrest one suspect, another suspect. They catch a third outside, and even more inside.
This resulted in the apprehension of 5 suspects in the Oak Ridge parking lot here, and the 11-year-old boy being recovered safe and sound.
This is where it began last night at the new Taiping restaurant in Richmond. Taiping, the Chinese word for peaceful. And so it seemed for a couple and their 11-year-old son eating dinner. But the meal did not end so peacefully.
Around 9:30 or so, the kid felt, I guess he was bored. He wanted to go out to the car and listen to music or something. And around 10 o'clock when they paid the bill and was going to leave, they found the kid in the car gone.
The mother had made a public personal appeal over the Chinese radio. She had feared the worst.
She was very worried and a bit frightened, but without, she was helpless, trying very desperate to get for help.
At approximately 9:15, the family received a ransom demand. The demand was very straightforward. It was an exchange, the life and safety and well-being of their son in exchange for a sum of money.
The ransom drop was to be made at the Oak Ridge Parkade, and police from CLU, the Coordinated Law Enforcement Unit, were ready. They caught the kidnappers red-handed. The young victim, 11-year-old Bert Cito, was found bound and gagged in the trunk of a BMW.
We have in custody 2 young offenders, 3 adults, very young adults, 5 in total. Of those 5, 3 come from Richmond and 2 are from Vancouver. 4 of the 5 are apparently just recently arrived here in BC.
It's the day after Christmas. The sun is barely up. If the stores were giving things away, you could almost understand it. But waiting for hours to fork over cash to rack up their credit cards with CDs and electronics, as if shopping before Christmas wasn't enough.
How long have you been in line? By 8 o'clock, it'll be 10.5 hours. See this lady here? This number 2 in the line.
Yeah, it's just camera shy.
Some are ashamed to be here. Others are bargain hungry and proud of it.
Anything with a deal.
How much money are you looking to spend?
I don't know. I brought a credit card.
I'm going to say I participated in it anyways. It's like the polar bear swim. Say I was there.
So many lines, so little time.
So what are you guys in line for?
CDs.
You're in the wrong line.
I am?
Yeah, the CD line is around the other side. It's way shorter.
Shit.
Oh.
Now. Take this one. Ready?
8 a.m. and they're off.
Where's the fax machines?
Hey, easy now, boys.
The key seems to be knowing what you want and going for it.
That CD player too. Look at this for my brother.
Get it.
Is he gonna fit?
Pardon me?
Is he gonna fit?
That one just might, yeah.
All those hours
$10 in line.
All in ours, worth it.
Some need a little help from home.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Can't beat the deal, then come down once and go back home and sleep it off.
This post-Christmas crush was orderly, though the ambulance was called here twice to revive collapsed customers. The manager was feeling anything but faint.
It's a huge day. Let's just say that. We move an awful lot of product.
The Christmas season, both pre and post, can make or break some retailers, but there was no sign of trouble in Vancouver this Boxing Day. Everywhere there was a sale, it seems there was a lineup, except for one place, where everything was free, but no one was buying. Donna Friesen, CBC News, Vancouver. By morning, it was foggy and cold. The missing hikers had been out all night. So had many of the volunteer searchers.
Well, they would be really cold if they weren't dressed for it.
They'd narrowed their focus after police found the men's truck parked near Cypress Bowl.
They were only planning to be out for a short day hike, about 4 hours. So wouldn't have a lot of extra gear with them, but you know, had hiking shoes and packs and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping they had some extra gear to keep them warm overnight.
Are you the guys?
Yeah.
Just before 10, the men are found and driven to the command post.
So how was the night?
It's warm. We had a fire and we had a book of 103 hikes and
now down to 92.
92 because we had to burn a few of them.
Burned a few pages to start a fire. They had matches, food, and water. Soaked by rain, it was the fire that saved them.
Yeah, we were just going up here.
Just up on top. We're right on top. And we turned right, and we heard this bear in the bush. So we walked away from it, and we ended up throwing us in the water chutes.
They had wandered into the Capilano watershed, a restricted area. It was a GBRD helicopter pilot doing some routine work who spotted them.
At times it was kind of hairy to see those cliffs, and there's no way we could go down there. We had to keep going on the side and hang on to roots and stuff.
Apart from a few scratches, both men are safe and grateful. And as they drive off home for belated Thanksgiving turkey, the volunteers regroup
Taking your life in your hands?
and prepare to head for Whistler and another search.
Despite all the publicity about hikers who go missing, all the warnings about the need to be prepared out here, for some reason the message doesn't seem to be getting through. The 2 hikers found today add to what's already been a record year for North Shore Search and Rescue. Donna Friesen, CBC News, Cypress Mountain.
So the government has an obligation to look at how we're going to handle it.
With a weak showing of only 25% public support in the latest polls and half a dozen investigations for alleged wrongdoings hanging over its head, the NDP has more than policy strategies to talk about this weekend.
I think the delegates are worried more than anything. They're not angry. They're not upset. They're more worried.
Worried about cracks in the party's internal foundation, including from this man, former NDP cabinet minister Dave Stupich, still refusing to cooperate in the investigation into the Nanaimo Commonwealth Holding Society scandal, despite today's plea from the premier.
I can urge Mr. Stupich to do the right thing. I can't force him to, but I think that Mr. Stupich has to do the right thing so we can all get at the truth as to where do these funds go.
You talked to the Premier today?
Otherwise, talk to my lawyer.
Have you spoken with the Premier today, sir?
Talk to my lawyer.
Talk about what the feeling is about the support for the Premier today?
I support the Premier. I hope he's still Premier after the next election. Very strongly hope that, and I'll do everything I can to make sure that happens.
Many delegates insist the media has a vendetta against the party, that Premier Harcourt's been given a raw deal.
What do you think of the Premier's leadership thus far?
First class. Couldn't be better.
Is there unity here among the delegates, do you think?
I haven't heard any backstabbing yet.
Expect to?
Well, I'm not looking for it.
Despite the outspoken declarations of solidarity, many delegates here tonight agree the string of scandals of late have cast a shadow over this convention, and they're anxious to hear how their leader plans on keeping his ship afloat when he addresses the troops tomorrow. Anna Saraldi, CBC News, Vancouver.
It was the kind of mistake that makes City Hall wince. A manager replacing striking parking meter attendants loses his key, and before too long, someone is cleaning out meters all over town.
There was at least 300 meters that were hit. Some of them might have been hit on 2 or more occasions, but 300 meters that were missing canisters.
An estimated $20,000 is stolen before police get the call. 2 men are spotted emptying the meters in broad daylight outside the city courthouse, a place where lots of police go.
We got a report come in that there was 2 guys opening parking meters to emptying the coins. I got out of my car and a witness approached me stating that the 2 males were across the street. I started across the street and the male carrying a black bag took off running. Then I gave chase.
One of the suspects was caught in a Denny's washroom. The other sought refuge briefly within the courthouse. Police recovered a few of the missing canisters, but nowhere near the amount that's missing. Coins that, in bulk, most people think would be hard to conceal.
Yeah, I work in an arcade, and I can't see how they could dump $20,000 worth of coin. Because I've got a buddy who works for Loomis, eh? Yeah. And he says $20,000 worth of loonies and quarters. He says they never have more than about 2,000 in the truck at one time, and he says that weighs almost 1,000 pounds.
If you came across $20,000 in loonies and quarters, how would you get rid of it?
Well, I couldn't feed off gun machines very long, could I?
How do you get rid of it?
With a big wheelbarrow.
I'd melt it down to make a giant sculpture of something, of Mike Harcourt, and sell it on the black market.
The suspects might have been planning to use the money for another purpose, but they're not talking at the moment. They had access to 3,200 meters in the city, and it was going to cost $100,000 to replace all the locks. It is still going to cost $100,000 because the suspects may be caught, but the key is still missing. Bob Nixon, CBC News, Vancouver.
Get him.
A summer evening at a North Vancouver hip-hop. For those struggling to keep up with the trends, this is what teenage cool looks and sounds like. The cool is in their clothes, their walk, and their talk about what happened on the night these photographs were taken, the night of the Stanley Cup riots.
When we first got down there, it was just like the last game, like people cheering and having a good time and everything. And then the farther up we got, it was like all people running and screaming and stuff.
That's what happened. That's what started all. They all like decided to be all tough with their billy clubs and start like beating on us.
It kind of pissed me off. That's kind of why I looted too. Someone threw a rock through the window and we went inside and just took all the stuff out.
Did you know there was going to be looting?
Yeah.
That's why I went down.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I was on crutches and I still looted.
I went to the same store like four times in a row.
I got lots of stuff. I got a watch, a Rolex.
Looking back at that night, even the kids who had nothing to do with it say they knew all along that the rioting and the looting were bound to happen.
Oh, I knew there was going to be a pure riot.
I think everyone wanted it to be like the LA riots.
Everybody wants bad stuff to happen so they can feel cool.
So what is it that made you do it, do you think?
I don't know. It was just like there's an open window and like 5 feet away there's like $300 rollerblades and like a snowboard.
So this was not about the Canucks?
Nah.
Why did you do it?
So, because I have no money, and when I got my Rolex, I had money, so. Adults did it too. I saw lots of adults doing it. Everybody was more drunker than me, so, and they were doing it more.
That it takes, or the persistence that it takes, the energy, to find out where their kids are and what their kids are doing.
Like these are all your new releases over here.
With signs advertising lubes and pumps, you might think Tony Perry has an auto parts store, but in fact he runs Vancouver's largest sex shop.
Well, we've got leather, metal, magazines. We even have a bargain bin for stuff that we're clearing out.
If you could say Perry's material is a bit steamy, you could also say Perry is a bit steamed.
We make good money. Of course we do. We need good money for the lawyers to fight City Hall.
City Hall, you see, is trying to rain on Perry's pornographic parade. It's noticed 11 of Vancouver's 19 sex shops are on 2 blocks of Granville Street. A motion before council says that from now on, they should be more spread out, but not in neighborhoods, near schools, or community centers.
Well, why should we be restricted at all? Only adults come in here. Our merchandise is legal. It's lawful. We pay a lot of taxes. If the adult Canadians who don't like our stores have the perfect right not to come in.
I don't think that the intent here is at all to trample the rights of anybody to free speech or indeed of the patrons to purchase these products. There's no attempt at all to limit the products sold.
But Perry would be forced to close his always open store from 1 until 6 every morning.
You'd be surprised at how many people come in here during those hours. You'd be surprised at how many condoms we sell during those hours.
How many?
Hundreds in our stores, hundreds.
Well, I'm not one of their customers. I don't think I ever will be.
People like garage shop owner Fred Tremblay have complained about the sex shops.
Well, I don't think we should live in a totalitarian state where nothing can be done without a permit. But I do think that when morality certainly has to pick up its socks.
The cornerstone of a democracy is to protect the things you're not especially fond of. The things you're fond of are protected anyway, okay? And you take Hitler, you take Stalin, every law they ever made was for the public good.
That democratic process continues tonight at a public hearing on the matter at City Hall. Bob Nixon, CBC News, Vancouver.
Remember summer? It seems like such a long time ago. That feeling of warmth and sunshine, it'll be months before we feel that again. But there's a beauty to winter too. And an odd thing does seem to happen to Vancouverites after they've lived here for a while. Lots of us actually seem to like the rain.
Well, we've grown used to it.
Yeah.
Didn't like it in the beginning, but it's all right.
I love the rain.
Get cold.
It's almost like we develop webbed feet, or in true cliche fashion, start taking to the wet stuff like ducks.
I have an umbrella. I have a raincoat. I'm fine. Oh, no, rain doesn't depress me. I was born in Vancouver and I like the rain.
Even the weather forecaster says this is nice weather for December.
Can we complain? We're 8 degrees. Sure, it's wet out there, but not bad.
Can we complain?
Well, I'm sure there's people that will complain, but...
And listen to who those people are. It may be a gross generalization, and our unofficial survey certainly isn't scientific, but all the people who don't like rain seem to come from one place.
I'm from Ontario, and this is a lot worse than we have it in Ontario.
Yeah? You don't like rain?
A little bit, but in moderation.
Yeah, it makes me depressed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How come?
No, because I can't do anything that I like to do, like play tennis and go skiing.
Do you think we've had too much of it, or?
Well, I haven't been here that long, so I'm from Toronto.
Well, I live here, but I'm not originally from here.
Yeah. Did it take you a while to adjust to this when you first moved here?
Yes, it did.
So,
from Ontario, where there's a lot more sun.
And for all those Ontario people, there could be some relief in sight. The weatherman is predicting sunny periods for tomorrow. Deborah Goebel, CBC News, Vancouver.
They come by in the hundreds, even in limos and tour buses, to greet the Santa in front of the House of Lights.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. Ho, ho, ho.
I think it's quite breathtaking.
Manger over there and stuff, it's pretty good.
We think it's really good. We don't have anything like this in Australia because it's too hot.
I like to see children. I love children when I see a big smile to their face. Try to do this for the children.
Rudy Payero started putting on this display 4 years ago. It's in memory of his 11-month-old daughter. She died of leukemia 30 years ago. Passers-by enjoy the lights so much they donate thousands of dollars. Payero gives the money to charity, but some of Payero's neighbors don't feel too charitable towards him.
Yeah, this is what we could hear inside the house.
This next-door neighbor says he and his family can't sleep at night because of the noise coming from Payero's display.
The traffic, the banging car doors, the honking, the tour buses. We get big 3-axle buses standing here and letting the engine idle for 10 minutes while the passengers get off and amble around the display. And the house literally shakes.
I think it's great, you know, and I don't see why there's any reason to complain about it.
Hogg has complained to the city, and bylaw enforcement officers have paid a visit, but they say the noise wasn't loud enough to warrant fines. Meanwhile, Payero vows his display will be bigger and better next year. Carol Forbes, CBC News, Vancouver.